the which place? Which place? Atmosphere, right? So the recent rise in global average temperature is mostly caused by emissions. Emissions from which one? Fossil fuels. It means burning of fossil fuels, coal, oil, and natural gas, right? So that is to sustainable energy sources and conserving energy and also increasing efficiency, right? So in addition, the carbon dioxide can be removed from the atmosphere by enlarging forests and restoring wetlands and also using other natural and technical process, right? So which are grouped put together under the terms of carbon, right? Carbon sequestration, right? Carbon sequestration. So now you see here various aspects of climate change mitigations here. You see here. So those are carbon sequestration and carbon sinks and carbon credit and carbon offsetting and geoengineering. So these are some of the various aspects of the climate change mitigations. So in your examination, anyone they are asking this from this. Okay. So carbon sequestration or carbon sinks or carbon credit or carbon offsetting geoengineering, right? So now you see one by one. First one is carbon sequestration, right? So what is carbon sequestration? So in the atmosphere, you will have a lot of amount of or a huge amount of carbon dioxide present, right? So the carbon capture and storage, also known as, what is that? Carbon sequestration. What is that? Carbon capture. Carbon capture and storage. Okay na? సో అంటే కార్బన్ డైఆక్సైడ్ అనేది మనము క్యాప్చర్ చేసి స్టోరేజ్ అవుతుంది. సో ఆ ప్రాసెస్ ని మనం ఏమంటాం? కార్బన్ సీక్వెస్ట్రేషన్, రైట్? సో ఇట్ డిస్క్రైబ్స్ ది టెక్నాలజీస్ designed to tackle global warming by capturing carbon dioxide at power stations and also industrial sites or even directly from the air and permanently storing in the underground here like this. Okay. So the carbon sequestration describes long-term storage of carbon dioxide or other forms of carbon, right? So just wait, I will. So now what they're asking 5 marks question in your examination. What is carbon sequestration? So that is carbon sequestration is the process of what is that? Capturing and storing atmospheric carbon dioxide. So it is a crucial method for mitigating the increase of carbon dioxide, right? So in the atmosphere. So which is a significant driver of climate change, right? And there are several methods of carbon sequestration is there. Those are biological carbon sequestration and geological carbon sequestration and technological carbon sequestration and blue carbon. So what is the biological carbon sequestration in this? So biological carbon sequestration means those are soil, forest, oceans, right? So what is the forest? Forest means trees and plants absorb. What is that? Carbon dioxide. Through which one? Through photosynthesis and store carbon in biomass and soil, right? So that is the forest. And soil means so agricultural practices, right? So agricultural practices can enhance carbon storage in such soils. So such as no-till farming. So it covering cropping and agroforestry, right? And also oceans means marine organisms like phytoplankton, those are absorb carbon dioxide, and some of it is stored in ocean sediments. So when these organisms die and sink to the ocean floors, right? And geological carbon sequestration also, same carbon captures and storage and also enhanced oil recovery, right? So you see, in carbon capture and storage in this geological sequestration, it is coming in next one, right? So this is the carbon sequestration. So you see here, carbon sequestration describes long-term storage of carbon dioxide and also other forms of carbon, right? So the carbon sequestration may be carried out by pumping carbon into carbon sinks, okay? Carbon sinks. So an area that absorbs carbon, right? So now what is carbon sink? So carbon sink means carbon sink is nothing but pumping, right? Pumping of carbon into sinks, okay? It's nothing but the pumping of carbon into sinks. So the sinks are nothing but some materials pulls in the carbon dioxide from the atmosphere. So those are called as sinks, right? So what is the sinks? Carbon sink is nothing but the pumping of carbon into sinks. Remember. So the sinks are nothing but some material pulls in the carbon dioxide from the atmosphere, right? So these are called sinks. So now you see here, the carbon sinks are two types. What is that? This is first one is natural sinks and second one is artificial sinks, right? So what is the natural sinks? Examples is oceans, forest, soil, right? So I already told just now. So these are the oceans means marine organisms like phytoplankton absorbs carbon dioxide, right? And some of it is stored in ocean sediments. So when these organisms die, right, and sink to the ocean floor, right? And forests also, the trees and plants. So those are absorb carbon dioxide through which process? Photosynthesis, and store carbon in biomass and soil, right? And also soil means agricultural practices can enhance carbon storage in soil. So such as no-till farming and cover cropping and agroforestry, right? So these are. So now artificial sinks. So artificial sinks are, those are depleted oil reservoirs and also unminable mines, etc. Right? So under these natural sinks, the oceans and forests and the soils access the nature things, right? So under artificial sinks, all the depleted oil reservoirs and unminable mines, right? So these all contribute to the artificial mines, right? So normally all the depleted, right? Depleted oils. So people will be taking oil from the side and leaving the side abundant, right? So you can store in the carbon inside that side. Okay. So, and the unminable mines, this unminable mines, some mines cannot be mined, right? So because the rock structure, and hence you can save in the carbon inside that, right? So these are the artificial sinks, right? So now you see here, so you see these are the depleted oil reservoirs and unminable mines. Okay. So now there are three main steps to carbon capture and storage, right? So first one is trapping and separating the carbon dioxide from which one? Other gases. And second one is transporting this captured carbon dioxide to a storage location. And next one is storing that carbon dioxide far away from the atmosphere. It means underground or deep in the ocean. So the basically the carbon capturing from the other gases. So normally carbon is mixed with other gases, right? So you have to capture the carbon first. So and then capture carbon is transport and stores it, right? So normally you take the carbon from other gases and you capture it and then you store, and then this store is taken far away from the atmosphere, right? So that involvement, that is the carbon is stored, right? So it is stored, either it is stored as solid or liquid, right? So the normally the carbon dioxide is taken from which place? Atmosphere, right? Atmosphere. And stored in deep inside the water. Are in the water or in the land. Okay. So what is happening is for years and years, the carbon gets deposited in which place? Inside the oceans or inside the land. So all the coal materials, the fossil fuels has a lot of carbon present inside them, right? So this is how the coal is being created. I already told in previous lesson, right? So when you take the coal from the ground and burn it again, the carbon is released. Released. What happened? Again into the which one? Atmosphere. So this is the round processing the environment, right? So the carbon sequestration is to maintain in the climate change, which is to maintain the global warming situations, right? So now, so types of carbon sequestration or sequestration. So what are the types of sequestration? The first one is ocean sequestration, and second one is geologic sequestration, and third one is terrestrial sequestration, right? So under ocean sequestration, it is a direct, you see here, direct injection of carbon into the which place? Ocean water, this ocean water, right? So that is deep inside the water, right? So this is ocean sequestration, right? So under geological sequestration. So geological sequestration, you create a pores or natural spaces on your earth surface, right? Earth surface. So you will enlarge the pores and then inject carbon. So carbon inside like this process you see here, this one, okay? Inside the pores. So normally it is done by the oil and gas industries. So for the oil and gas recovery. Like this, okay? So you see this is the, so ఇక్కడ చూడండి మీరు పైప్ లైన్ అనేది మనకి ఇక్కడ ఇలా ఇంజెక్ట్ చేశారు కార్బన్ అనేది మనకి ఇలా ఇంజెక్ట్ చేశారు, ఓకే? సో దిస్ వన్. సో నౌ సో terrestrial, third one is terrestrial. So under the terrestrial sequestration, so plants like during photosynthesis, right? Photosynthesis. So it takes in a lots of carbon dioxide, this carbon dioxide from the atmosphere, right? And then store it inside itself, right? And then when the plants are die, what happens there? So it then gives back the carbon to the automatically soil, and hence the soil also acts as of sinks, right? Sinks are the carbon sequestration. So these soils are acting as a sequestration. So this is called terrestrial sequestration, right? So under all the sequestration, the important kind of sequestration is which one? This one, geological or geologic sequestration. So because due to the impact of climate change, so there is a need for us to take in the carbon and store it in some other place, right? So that is the geological sequestration. Okay. Next one is green carbon. So what is green carbon and blue carbon? So green carbon means carbon removed by photosynthesis, right? Photosynthesis, okay? And stored in the plants and soil of natural ecosystems. And it is a vital part of the global carbon cycle. So many plants and most of the crops have short lives and release much of their carbon at the end of each season, right? So, but forest biomass accumulates carbon over decades and centuries. So, furthermore, the forests can accumulate large amount of carbon dioxide in relatively short periods and typically several decades. So the afforestation and deforestation. So these are measures that can be taken to enhance biological carbon sequestration, right? So this is the green carbon. Now blue carbon means, blue carbon refers to this coastal and aquatic and also marine carbon sinks. So that is held by the indicative vegetation, marine organism and sediments. So in particularly the coastal ecosystems such as tidal marshes, mangroves and seagrasses. So those are remove carbon from the atmosphere and ocean, storing it in which place? Plants, and depositing it in the sediments below them by natural process, right? So these coastal ecosystems are very efficient at sequestration and storing carbon. So each square mile of these systems can remove carbon from the atmosphere and oceans at rates higher than each square mile of mature tropical forest, right? So furthermore, the coastal ecosystems have been found to store huge quantities of carbon in organic rich sediments. So up to 5 times more carbon than many temperature and tropical forest. So these ecosystems are found in all continents except Antarctica. Okay. So this is the blue carbon and green carbon. So now we're going to second one. So carbon sequestration is over now. And next one is carbon credit. Okay. So now what is carbon credit? So carbon credit means it is a tradable certificate, right? Tradable certificate or permit to emit 1 ton. Remember this 1 ton of carbon dioxide or equivalent gases, right? So one carbon credit is equal to 1 ton of carbon dioxide. Remember this. So one carbon credit is equal to 1 ton of carbon dioxide. Okay. So basically, a certificate or a permit, so that is telling you that you can emit 1 ton of carbon dioxide or 1 ton of equivalent gases. So that is equal to the carbon dioxide value. So this is called carbon credit, right? So now, how to earn carbon credit? How? So now see, an organization which produce less than 1 ton of carbon dioxide and carbon credit. So for example, I have a company and you have also company, right? So I am emitting less carbon dioxide. So this one and this one you, right? So I am emitting, right? I am emitting carbon dioxide less than you. Hence, I will earn the carbon credits, right? So basically, it is denoted in terms of 1 ton of carbon dioxide, right? So an organization which produces less than 1 ton of carbon dioxide will earn the carbon credit certificate, right? So now, how does it helps? How? So it means, and countries which are signatories to the Kyoto Protocol, I already told about this Kyoto Protocol. So under the UNFCCC, it means United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, UNFCCC. Okay. So that have two conditions for the carbon credits criteria. What are the conditions? So you see here. So those conditions are, first one is to reduce the greenhouse gases and also to tie up with developing nations, right? So basically, the countries which are signatory to the Kyoto Protocol has these conditions, these two conditions for this carbon credit criteria, right? So developed countries, developed nations can share knowledge and the carbon credits. So basically, you can understand this example by the developed countries and developing countries. So under developed countries means it emits a lot of carbon dioxide because of more amounts of industries present at that place, right? And but in a developing countries, so there will be a less amount of industries, right? And hence carbon emissions will also be automatically less, right? So, and therefore, this developing nation can give the credits to the developed countries. to emit the carbon dioxide. So there will be a balance in our nature. So developing countries like India, China are likely to emerge as the biggest sellers, and Europe is going to be biggest buyer. Buyer of which one? Carbon credits. So mostly the biggest sellers are India, right? Biggest sellers are India and China. And the developing countries will sell the carbon credits. And the developed nations like this European, right? European nations. So that is the biggest buyer and will buy the carbon credit, right? So carbon, like any other commodity, has begun to be traded on India's multi-commodity exchange. It means MCH, right? MCX, multi-commodity exchange. So this MCX gas become first exchange in Asia to trade carbon credit, right? So this is how this carbon credit will work here, right? Okay. Second one is carbon credit is over. And next one is we are going to third one. That is carbon offsetting, right? Carbon offsetting. So all these are similar topics, right? So carbon credit and carbon sequestration and carbon offsettings. So these are the all similar topics. So you should know the minor details in between them. Okay, minor details only. So carbon offsettings are credit given for reduction for greenhouse gases by shifting to renewable energy sources. Okay, so for example, I am a company organization. So I am reducing my terms. So that is my greenhouse gas emission. And hence I will be offered some credits. So that is called as carbon sequestration. Okay. So carbon offsets are quantified and sold in metric tons of carbon dioxide, right? So this is carbon offsetting, okay? The next one is carbon tax. So now what is carbon tax? Fourth one. Carbon tax means it is a tax, right? It is a tax. So that is based on the amount of carbon dioxide contained in a fuel. So for example, there is a tax which is using some fuel like coal, the amount of carbon content. So in this will be measured. So and hence they will tax you on the amount of carbon content present in this coal. So the aim of this tax is to cause less fossil fuel use and hopefully cause an incentive to use other sources of energy. Right? So what is carbon tax? Carbon tax is a fee, like fee imposed on the carbon content of fuels. So it is a form of carbon pricing aimed at reducing what? Greenhouse gas emissions by encouraging individuals and business to use less fossil fuel and to invest in energy efficiency and renewable energy sources, right? So now how it works, this carbon tax, that is tax rate and scope and revenue. So it works like this. So what is tax rate means? The government sets a tax rate per ton of carbon dioxide emitted, right? So this rate can vary by country or region, and it can increase over time, right? And scope. So the tax can be applied to various sectors, including electricity generation, transportation, industry, and residential heating, right? So this one. So this is the carbon tax. And next one is, the last one is geoengineering. Geoengineering. So this topic is just theoretical, but they have proposed this. So what is geoengineering? So that is cooling of Earth's environment. That is called as geoengineering, right? So the Earth is getting warmed up, right? So due to what is the reason? Various greenhouse gases. So mainly done by man-made pollution. All of you know about this, right? So I already told about this. So and hence you should cool down the environment. So this geoengineering technology is still a theoretical concept and it is yet to be accomplished, right? So now how it works, how does it works? There are 5 methods here. So first one is copy a volcano, and second one is shoot mirrors into space, and third one is um, seed the sea with iron, and fourth one is whitening the clouds, and fifth one is build fake trees. So these are some of the methods here in geoengineering. So now you see one by one. First one is copy a volcano. So how can copy a volcano? So what is this copy a volcano? So all are these 5 in this figure only. Okay. So now this is the first one. Okay. Copy a volcano. How can you copy a volcano? So under the volcanic eruption, a huge amount of sulfur dioxide gas is released into the atmosphere, right? So that the release of huge amount of gases by this volcano causes the cooling effects of the earth. So normally, what will happen is when you take some amount of sulfur and you see and spray like this. So example, this one, okay, this spray it into the atmosphere and then it leads to the cooling of the air. Okay. So inject the atmosphere with which one? Sulfur, right? Sulfur. And it will reflect back the sun rays. Sun rays. Okay. So some scientists believes they could likewise block solar radiation and potentially cool the planet. Right? So that is why the cooling effect is caused. That is sulfur, it is reflected a lot of sun's radiation back to the space, right? So then this sulfur does not hit the stratosphere. Okay. So normally, like other gases, sulfur does not heat up the stratosphere, and hence that is why we have spraying like this the stratosphere with sulfur. You see this one, observe. Okay. So this method is called copy of volcano, one of the geoengineering word, right? So the volcano eruption can blow many millions of sulfur dioxide gas into the atmosphere, and it creates creating a cloud that blocks some of the sun's radiation, right? By injecting the atmosphere with sulfur. Okay. And next one is second one. So second one, where is the second one here? This one, this is the second one. You see here, okay? The shoot mirrors into space. So normally, what with the mirrors do? What do the mirrors do? So it will reflect back the rays, right? Reflect back the rays. So that is what is the concept defined placing mirror into space. Okay. So here the earth over here, you if you place a mirror like these mirrors, these are the mirrors, right? So over here, if you place a mirror over here, this mirror will reflect back the sun's rays to space, right? So the mirror will be the size of Greenland, not only small in our home like that mirrors. Okay. So mirror size will be the size of Greenland. So I think that is not possible, but the geoengineers plan to launch a mirror. So it will be a big mirror placed in the space outside the Earth surface, right? So in order to deflect enough sunlight to bring the Earth's climate back to its pre-industrial level, and geoengineers plan to launch a mirror the size of Greenland and strategically position it between the planet and the sun. Okay, that is second one. And third one is, you see a third one here, see the sea with iron. Okay, so you have to put a lot of iron filling in the ocean surface. You see this one, okay, ocean surface. So normally what happens is the phytoplankton, so which grows on the ocean surface only. Which one? Phytoplanktons, right? So that is, they grow on the oceans. So, but these trees are, these phytoplankton will dwell near the surface for the iron. So that is, they prefer iron. So the phytoplankton need into grow, and hence when you put the iron filling on the top of the ocean, right? So this phytoplankton will come near the surface and take in the iron. And they come near the surface, they will do the process of photosynthesis. Those are taking into a lot of carbon dioxide into themselves, right? So when these phytoplankton die, um, within 60 days, they will go underneath. Okay, they will go underneath. So that is near the sea belt, and hence over that there will be storage of carbon. That is the reason. So this is one method of geoengineering. So some scientists suggest iron will be the key to turn things around. So the phytoplankton which dwell near the surface prefer iron, right? Next one is fourth one. So where is fourth one? Here. Okay, this one. So whitening the clouds. So these clouds. Okay, these clouds. Whitening the clouds. So how can you whitening the clouds? How is it possible? Right, you see here. So normally you can take seawater. Seawater contains a lot of salt content. All of you know about that, right? So which is white in color, right? So black color will absorb a lot of sun rays. So but then white color reflect back the sun's rays, right? So this is the concept behind the whitening the clouds. So you should spray a lot of sea water on top of the clouds. So there are clouds over here, and then the sun rays are coming in this white surface, will reflect back the sun rays, right? So this is the concept behind whitening the clouds. So some of the scientists hopes like the volcanic eruption, the tops of clouds also reflect solar radiation, right? So spraying a lot of seawater in the sky by wind-powered remotely activated ships to within the clouds, and thus it will reflect solar radiation back into the sun, right? So this is whitening clouds. And next one is build fake trees. Build fake trees. Okay. So this one, artificial trees. How can you build fake trees? It means artificial trees, right? So there is a tree over here. You see, these are the trees. These are the artificial trees, right? You can create panels around the tree. So these panels will contains what? So panels over cover the trees, right? So these panels will contain resins, right? So these resins have the capacity to absorb, and hence it will change to the solid form, right? And then this solid is removed from the panels with the help of steam and then converted into liquid. And this liquid is then stored for a long period, right? So the artificial tree is scaled down version of an earlier prototype capable of capturing ton of carbon in the atmosphere per day. So panels covering the surface of the tree, which would need to be around 50 square meters, right? So it will be made of an absorbent resins that reacts with the carbon dioxide into the air to form a solid, right? So it can be compared to a furnace filter capable of pulling particulates out of the air. So the panels or boxes can be removed and exposed to 113. How much? 113 degree Fahrenheit steam, which effectively cleans the filters. So the chemical reaction with the steam causes the solid to release the carbon it has captured. So which can then see as liquid carbon dioxide, right? So, but pulling carbon dioxide from the atmosphere is only half the bottle. Afterwards, it must be sequestered or permanently trapped. So these are the from the engineering process, geoengineering process, right? So in this lesson, in your examination, they are asking any one of from this carbon sequestration or carbon sinks or carbon credit, carbon offsetting, also geoengineering, right? So maybe these three are very important, okay? Now, next one is so National Action Plan on Climate Change. So what is this National Action Plan? This is also important, right? So now the National Action Plan and climate change. So this is the primary strategy to fight against which one? Global warming and climate change, right? So it was released on this 30th June 2008. So this National Action Plan, it effectively pulls together a number of government schemes, right? Government scheme policies and programs under various sectors or sections like water, renewable energy, and also energy efficiency, agriculture, and also others into a set of 8 missions, right? So it pulls together a number of strategies into these 8 missions, which helps to comprehensive approach towards the climate change and global warming. So here the prime ministers, right? Prime Ministers Council on Climate Change is the in terms of the overall implementation of this plan. So the Prime Minister's Council on Climate Change, please remember this, okay? So here it is a major plan to fight climate change, right? And to fulfill India's obligations internationally, okay? So for example, India has signed in a Paris Agreement, right? Paris Agreement. So deals, okay? And to fight against global warming. So we need to reduce the Windows gas emissions by 2035. Okay. So for that, we are advising various strategies. So this National Action Plan is a basic strategy to reduce the global warming and climate changes. Similarly, a convention of combating desertification on Montreal Protocol to phase out the ozone depleting substances, and convention on persistence organic pollutants. So to fulfill the obligations on the international commitments, this provides the basic strategies, right? So the National Action Plan, NAPCC, this National Action Plan, an initiative formulated by Government of India on the 30th June 2018. So almost a year after it was announced, almost after 1 year, right? So to deal with the future policies and programs for the climatic improvement and adjustment, right? So the NAPCC was released by GOI in 2008, right? So the aim of this NAPCC is to mitigate what that adapt to the climate changes in different domains, so that are related with climate change, right? So the plan aims to, what is that? Fulfilling India's developmental objectives. So with focus on reducing emission intensity of its economy, right? So it put together the national plan on water and renewable energy and energy efficiency, agriculture, etc. So now what are the principles of this plan? What are the principles? First one, the principles of this plan are protecting the poor through an inclusive and sustainable development strategies and sensitive to climate change, and also achieving national growth and poverty alleviation objectives. So while encouraging geological sustainability, and also some of the efficient and cost-effective strategies for end-use demand side management, and also extensive and accelerated deployment of appropriate technologies for adaptation and mitigation, and some new and innovative market and regulatory and voluntary mechanisms for sustainable development, and also effective implementation through unique linkages with civil society and public-private partnerships, right? So these are some of the principles of this plan, right? So it is a mission mode plan, and the execution of the action plans are constituted under these 8 missions, so that are responsible to achieve the goals of adaptation and improvement, right? So now you see here, those emissions are includes, first one is National Solar Mission, and next one is National Mission of Enhanced Energy Efficiency. So just wait 1 second. Charging it. Okay, 15 minutes I take. Okay, right. So now you see here, third one is National Mission on Sustainable Habitat, and fourth one is National Water Mission, and fifth one is National Mission for Sustaining the Himalayan Ecosystem, and also next one is Mission for Green India and Sustainable Agriculture, and National Mission Strategies and Knowledge for Climate Change. So these are the 8 missions. So these are important. So now we will discuss what are those 8 climate change goals. First one is, what is this? National Solar Mission, right? You see here. So it is governed by the Ministry of New and Renewable Energy, right? New and Renewable Energy. And now the Jawaharlal Nehru a solar mission was launched in I think 11 January 2010. This one, okay, 2010, with the primary aim of achieving grid parity by 2022, and with coal-based thermal power by 2030, right? So the basic aim of this mission is to promote solar energy, or it is to promote all types of steps. So that will definitely help in increasing or harnessing the use of solar energy as a part of these missions. So this mission sets an ambitions targets of generating how much this 20,000 megawatt, right? 20,000 megawatt of solar power by the, in which year? 2022. Okay. So along with that, we have some specific goal for increasing use of solar, thermal technologies. So as well as in urban areas, industries, and other commercial establishments. So all together, the National Solar Mission talks about promoting better utilization of solar energy, right? So what is the objective of this mission? The objective of this mission is to establish India as a global leader in solar energy by creating the policy conditions for its diffusion across the country as quickly as possible, right? So the mission adopts 3 phases approach. So first phase is this one, okay, 2000 up to 2010 to 13, right? And second one is 13 to 17. And third one is 2017 to 22. Okay. So the immediate aim of the missions to focus on setting up an enabling environment for solar technology penetration in the country, both at a centralized and decentralized level, right? So it is incremental increasing the solar power generation, right? So for example, 10,000, right? You see here into here, sorry, 1,000 to 2,000 megawatt in this first phase, right? And second one is 4,000. You see this 4,000 to 10,000 megawatt in second phase, and 20,000 megawatts in the third phase, right? So this is the increasing the solar power generation. Okay. So in this map in India, which shows the huge potential for solar power generation in the country, right? So if you look at this orange, right, orange color regions, so these are the regions which are very continual for extraction of solar power in the country. So they have the potential of how much? 21, right? 2150 kilowatt per meter square. So they receive solar energy more than 2150 kilowatt per hour per meter square. Okay. So our peninsular India and region of Rajasthan and certain parts of Delhi, so those are all having great potential to extract solar energy present. Okay. So this is the first mission. And next mission is NMEEE. NMEEE. It's called NMEEE. So the mission is run by the who? Ministry of Power. Okay, Ministry of Power. And based on the Energy Conservation Act 2001. So the India has fifth lowest energy efficiency in the world. Remember this word, right? Fifth, okay? So further, the GDP that is to energy consumption ratio is also poor. So the mission thus plans sustainable economic growth along with a reduction in energy and carbon intensity of the economy. So what is the aim of this mission? So this mission is to strengthen the market, right? Market for energy efficiency in the country by creating conductive regulated architecture, this energy, and for fostering innovation and sustainable business models to the energy efficiency sector. This mission aims to promoting or improving efficiency within the country in different platforms of energy use. So, and it aims at saving a minimum of how much? 10,000 megawatt of energy within the 4 years, right? So it's a part of this mission. We were discussing about the 3-star of 4-star. It means all of you know this 3-star, 4-star, 5-star, right? So it is more energy efficient than 1 or more star. So this create awareness among the consumers to purchase in the energy efficiency appliances. So it all comes as a part of the to save and promote maximum energy, enhanced energy efficiency, right? So, and next mission is National Mission on Sustainable Habitat. So NMSH, it's called NMSH. So the mission is run by the which one? Ministry of Urban Development. Okay. So this mission describes strategies to implement measures in the various sectors like energy efficiency, urban transport, and also water supply and sewage, and municipal solid waste management, and urban storm water management, and urban planning, right? So in this mission, the manifold agenda mission, because it looks at energy efficiency within buildings and waste disposal from these buildings and betters the public transport system, right? So what is the aim in this mission? Aim at promoting energy efficiency as a common or core component of urban planning. And the plan calls for the mission calls for extending the existing energy conservation building code, right? Building code. So which means as of now, we have a specific set of codes. So that has to be fulfilled while creating or while constructing different buildings. So especially in urban areas, right? సో దిస్ దట్స్ వై మనకి ఇక్కడ రాజీవ్ గృహ కల్ప అలాంటి ఏమైనా గవర్నమెంట్ బిల్డింగ్స్ ఉంటాయి కదా. సో సేమ్ మనకు బిల్డింగ్ కోడ్ అనేది ఉంటుంది, సేమ్ కలర్, సేమ్ specific area, okay, same size, same color, okay. So that's why this particular mission aims to promoting a better building code, building goal. So a better energy efficiency building code. So that is a creating this one building code for the entire nation, right? So that is creation of one building for energy, the entire nation, especially related to the urban areas, and also give a special emphasis on urban waste management as well as recycling, including the power production from the renewable sources or power productions from waste. And next, we have the mission that deals with water. So that is National Water Mission, right? So this is also very important. So the Ministry of Water Resources, what is the objective? Conservation of water, minimizing wastage, and ensuring its more equitable distribution both across and within states through integrated water resources and development and management, right? So the Ministry of Water Resources and River Development and Ganga Rejuvenation. So those are the members who supported in this mission. Okay. So ensures better integrated water resource management leading to water conservation and less wastage, equitable distribution, forming better policies. So the goal, what are the goals of this mission? The goal of this mission is to better utilization of available water resources, right? Water resources. So it talks about increasing the efficiency of water usage by minimum of 20%, right? You see a minimum of 20%, and it will be done using different technologies as well as awareness among different sectors of people who are using water in their daily life. So this is the National Water Mission. And next mission is NM SHE. It means National Mission for Sustaining the Himalayan Ecosystem. So this mission is run by the Department of Science and Technology. It's called DST. Okay. So it creates protective Himalayan ecosystem. So the mandate is to evolve measures to sustain and safeguard the Himalayan glaciers, mountain ecosystems, biodiversity, and wildlife conservation and protection. So we have National Mission on Sustaining Himalayan Ecosystem because we know Himalayan ecosystems play a significant role in sustaining Indian subcontinent, right? So especially protecting us from the warm currents or cold currents from the Siberian and other Central Asian states. So this particular aim sustaining Himalayan ecosystem deals with development or improvement of ecological value of Himalayan ecosystem, right? So, and also environmental peculiarities and biodiversity peculiarities of Himalayan ecosystems. So, in symbol, it talks about protecting and preserving different aspects related to Himalayan ecosystem. And also it talks about protecting glaciers, which are a major source of India's water supply, as well as projects to reduce as a result of our project source to reduce the impacts of global warming. Okay. And next mission. So next mission is National Mission of Green India. So what is this mission? So the mission is run by the which one? Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change. MOEFCC. It's called MOEFCC, right? So it has been man-made of reviving degraded forest land with a focus on increasing forest cover and density and conserving biodiversity. And it works towards reducing fragmentation of forests, enhancing private-public partnerships for plantations, and improving schemes based on joint forestry management, etc. Right? So in 2024, the Ministry of Environment Forest got go ahead to work on this from the cabinet, right? So as the name indicate, it talks about increasing the forest cover, right? Increasing the forest cover. It talks about afforestation and about preventing deforestation also, right? So as a part of in this mission, it promotes or it touches and forestation of around how much? 6 million hectares of degraded lands. So, and also it talks about increasing the existing forest cover 23 from the 23% to this 23 to 33 of the total land tertiary, right? And I hope all of you know about that the ideal or the best or the minimum amount or percentage of land. So that should be under forest for sustaining or for a better society is 33%, right? So the National Green India Mission talks about increasing the what? Existing forest cover from this 23% to 33%. Okay? This one. And next mission is sustainable agriculture. So this mission is run by the Ministry of Agriculture, right? Ministry of Agriculture. So what is the objective? The main objective is how climate change affects crops and their development through various mechanisms. So for example, in areas where there are more rains, it focuses on integrated farming. So use of water efficiency, soil health, management, etc. Right? So it works towards devising strategies to make Indian agriculture less susceptible to climate change. So, and it would identity and develop new crop varieties and also use traditional and modern agriculture techniques. So the sustainable development is the development that helps to meet um, the need of the existing generation without compromising the mm, need of future generation. So similar to we should have sustainable agriculture, which means the existing agriculture needs or farm needs of the existing people of generation has to be fulfilled, right? So, and also there should not be any compromise with regards to the future chances of agriculture. So that is this mission aims to support what is that? Climate adaptation in agriculture through development of climate resilient crops. Okay. An expansion of weather insurance mechanism and also promoting better agricultural practices. And all together it talks about sustainable agriculture for the future. So in last mission, so the in this mission, this is the last mission, that is National Mission on Strategic Knowledge for Climate Change. Okay. So now this the mission is run by the which one? Department of Science and Technology, DST. Okay, DST. Okay. So in this, it identifies challenges and requisite responses to climate change. So this will be done through open international collaboration, and it will ensure sufficient funding for this research, right? So in this mission aims at gaining better understanding of climate change scenario within the India, okay, within the India, because we have to study about global warming. So we have to study about greenhouse gases, right? So what are the different greenhouse gases? That is mainly being produces within our country, India, and how to resolve the issue and how to reduce those greenhouse gases without compromising the development of industry or agriculture, right? So these are the 8 missions we have under NAPCC, okay? So these are the important missions. Okay. So in your examination, they're asking National Action Plan on Climate Change, or what is the National Action Plan? So now you should write these 8 missions under this NAPCC. Okay. This action plan under this these are the 8 missions are there. Okay. So those are National Solar Mission, National Enhanced Energy Efficiency, Sustainable Habitat, Water Mission, and Sustaining Himalayan Ecosystem, and Green India, Sustainable Agriculture, and also Strategic Knowledge for Climate Change. So you should write these missions under this NAPCC or National Action Plan. Okay. So, right. So this topic is over. Just wait. I think 10 minutes is remaining 10 minutes. So I will finish this one. Okay, right. So now next topic is acid rain. So tomorrow is the last class. Okay, I will finish totally. So no, tomorrow is a important topics is there. So kindly attend. Kinda, wait. Hindi పెట్టిన చూడు bucket. So now next topic is acid rain, right? So this is also important. So now the term acid rain was coined in 1852, right? 1852 by Scottish chemist, it's Robert, right? Robert Angus, A-N-G-S, Angus Smith, okay? So according to the Royal Society, right here, Robert Angus Smith, okay? So according to the Royal Society of Chemistry, which calls him the father of acid rain. Okay, father of acid rain. And Smith decided on the term while examining rainwater chemistry near industrial cities in England and Scotland, right? So he wrote about his findings in 1872 in the book of Air and Rain. So that is beginnings of chemical climatology, right? So in the 1950s, scientists in the United States started studying this phenomena. And in the 1960s and early 1970s, the acid rain became recognized as a regional environmental issue. So that affected Western European and Eastern North America, right? So now, what is acid rain? What is acid rain? It means acid rain is also termed as acid deposition or acid precipitation, right? So it is a type of rain in which deposition of acid takes place along with rainwater. So the acid rain or acid deposition is a broad term that includes any form of precipitation. So with acidic components such as sulfuric or nitric acid that falls to the ground from the atmosphere in wet or dry forms, right? So this can include rain, snow, fog, hail, dust, or even dust that is having acid components, right? So atmospheric pollutants like oxides of nitrogen, I think 2 minutes. And sulfur reacts with rainwater and leads to the formation of acids like nitric or sulfuric acid, nitric acid, and fall with the rain, right? So that is called acid rain, right? So now what are the causes? Causes of this acid rain? So those are two types. So that is natural causes and man-made causes, right? So in natural causes, it can be caused due to lightning, volcanic eruption, biological process, and wildfires. So what is this lightning? In this, the enormous energy in lightning generates nitrogen ions from the atmospheric nitrogen. So which is form acids with the combination of water vapors, and it leads to acid rain, right? And volcanic eruption means this is a natural cause. So because this is something which happens in nature, which is not in our control, right? So whenever any volcanic erupt, a blast of gases conserve from within the surface of the earth. So which contains of oxides of nitrogen, sulfur, and carbon again, right? And biological process means the biological process that occur on the land and in water bodies also generate acid producing gases to the atmosphere. And wildfires, it means the uncontrolled forest fires, right? So those are also released acid producing gases, right? And next one is anthropogenic or man-made. Man-made gases means, causes means industries, coal-based thermal power plants and exhaust from automobiles and burning of fossil fuels and domestic fires, smelting of metal ores. So these are some of the man-made causes. So industries means human activities, right? Human activities. So it leading to chemical gas emissions such as sulfur, nitrogen. So those are the primary contributors to the acid rain, right? And coal-based means again emits sulfur and nitrogen oxides also, right? So exhaust from automobiles, all of you know about that. Again, this something which is related to fossil fuels. So we all know that most of all vehicles such as cars, trucks, buses, etc., etc. So these are either a petroleum or diesel. So both these are fossil fuels whenever we are using these fuels in the vehicles, right? So they are giving out emissions. So which contain oxides of sulfur and nitrogen, which contribute to the acid rain. So burning fuels also same. I already told about this one. So now, how to form the acid rain? So there are two forms in which acid deposition occurs. So first one is dry and wet, and second one is dry depositions, right? Wet depositions of acids and dry depositions of acids. So now wet deposition. So what is this deposition of acids? In wet deposition, it moving air blows the acids present in the atmosphere to the areas where the weather is wet, right? So thereafter, acids fall to the ground in the form of rain, steel, fog, snow, or mist, right? So it removes acid from the atmosphere and deposit them on the earth surface, right? So those are wet deposition of acids, and dry deposition of acid means in dry deposition. So moving air blows that the acids present in atmosphere to the areas where the weather is dry. So the acidic pollutant slip into dust or smoke and fall to the ground as dry point. Right? So these are the wet deposition and dry deposition of acids. Okay. So I think time is up. So I will explain tomorrow. So how to form this acid rain with chemical reaction. Okay. So any doubts in these three lessons? Ask me freely. So only few people are coming daily. Okay, now I will quit my class.
Yeah, that